What's up, Rad fam? Welcome back to another episode of the Rad DAO podcast. Today, we're talking to the guys from Sidekick Finance. Sidekick Finance is a DeFi ecosystem that has a number of different components to it, but the one that we're going to focus on today is their new decentralized crowdfunding platform called Jumpstart. But before we get into that conversation, I'm going to need you to do me a favor and smash that like and subscribe button if you're on YouTube, or if you're an audio listener, please smash that 5-star review button on whatever podcast app you're listening to right now. It helps promote the channel and it gives me the warm and fuzzies, and I greatly appreciate it. With that out of the way, we can get into the conversation. So welcome to episode 6 of the Rad DAO podcast. Let's go. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Good to be here, man. It's finally good to be here. I feel like I'm in infamy now. Infamy.
Hey, you're all over Telegram. You were already famous. This is just going to help cement it now. But as I called it in the intro, these are the guys from Sidekick Finance. I'd like to welcome Mad Felly to the stage, as well as Cause. You guys are, intimately involved with the project. We're going to be talking about Jumpstart today. But before we get into all the crunchy details, why don't we start with some intros?
Yep. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and get started. So I'm Matt Felly. I'm one of the co-founders of Sidekick. For everyone to know, I'm not a dev. I'm just a psychiatrist. But actually, in terms of this, I love the way I actually like my job. I love crypto because it kind of helps knowing what neuro-linguistic programming, how people behave to FOMO and FUD is actually a fascination of mine. Been in this space for 4 years. Actually started with that time around meeting Cause at that time, and we just met up as no joking as warlords in different ROIs and in the crypto space, and we just kind of met each other, started a group together. Next thing you know, here we are 4 years later, battle tested, been rugged, been hacked, been hurt, and on other spaces and other platforms that at some point is like, you know what, maybe it's time to take destiny in our own hands. And we might not, we say individually, I don't think one of us is the best, but together, I always say together, we're an incredible team, and we seem to synergize that way. So other than that, it's team effort. So I'll let Cos speak because I know he's the brains behind the operation. I'm just a beauty or the beast.
Can't be both. But Cause, over to you.
So yeah, hey guys, glad to be here. Appreciate it, Rad Dad. This is pretty cool. So yeah, I think Felly hit nail on the head. We got together about two and a half years ago now. Just coming up in different groups, and I think how we started out is I'm a developer. I've been a software developer for about 10 years. And we started out, we had a Discord, and we were just trying to follow along, and we were trying to help guide people through smart contracts. This is 2019, 2020, and just being able to read the smart contract, we thought we were able to get a little bit of an edge, and help people out. And we're like, okay, this is awesome. This is fun. Fast forward about, a year, and we decided, hey, man, we grew a pretty big group. We had made a little bit of money, and we're like, hey, let's start a project. And so Sidekick was born. You could say our goal, I think, was really just to kind of guide and empower the community. We wanted to build tools for our community members. We wanted to bring analytics to the chain. We wanted just to make sure that the people that was in our group, weren't losing their money. We definitely believe in DeFi. We believe in Web3. We're big believers in crypto, and we wanted to make sure that the guys that were, rocking with us didn't end up broke on the side of the road, after that being so early to such an awesome opportunity, which is crypto. So that's kind of how we got started.
That's really cool. And I'm smiling not because you've been rugged and screwed around in crypto, because I actually had a great conversation with Sam from Veracity Audits last week about sort of that shouldn't have to be the case anymore. So I'm glad that you guys had to go through that, because I think what came from it is sort of a mandate to just be better than that, right? So it sounds like Sidekick's sort of been an evolution over a number of years, kind of adding, tweaking, developing. Would that be a fair statement?
Very, very fair statement. We've been evolving every day. I think our group started with Felly was saying originally, I'm kind of an anime nerd and I watch a lot of One Piece. So originally we just had a little small group of like, I think it was like 5 guys, 6 guys. And we just called ourselves the Warlords, which was based off of One Piece anime. And I mean, we just had stupid little goals and, the Discord started growing. And then, yeah, I mean, just one thing led to the next and we've just been evolving the whole time. And now we're really at a state where Sidekick's about to become incorporated. We have a full-on SaaS product, which is Jumpstart, and I mean we're talking to VC venture capitalists, and we're looking for money, and it's just been a wild ride.
No, that's really cool. So like just general market kind of, what do you see in DeFi now, and kind of what are your thoughts about what might need to change in order to get better adoption in the coming years?
Yeah, so I think we've been kind of at a inflection point with DeFi, for the past year or two. When we launched Sidekick, we kind of were noticing everybody was kind of at the time just doing a Safe Moon clone, and it was just pump and dump Safe Moon clones everywhere, and extremely exorbitantly high ROIs and APYs. And that was kind of where we kind of came into the space, and we kind of wanted to change that even back then, 2021, summer 2021, we were really trying to be a platform token. We really wanted to build a token that was different, that was actually bringing utility, bringing use case, building something. And I mean, I think DeFi is stuck in this little like just recurring dream where it's just the same things over and over and over again, where we're all just addicted to these, 10,000% APYs, pump and dump farms, ROI dApps that don't work. And I'm trying to get us out of that, by building products, by building revenue generating products, and decentralizing Web 2. And I'm hoping that's where we move towards this next cycle.
I think ecosystem is key. I mean, I think we've kind of looked at a lot of projects recently, and like without some sort of ecosystem or external revenue source actually continuing to feed the project, we see that they just die, and then that's it. Investors are screwed, developers disappear, and that's the end of that. So it's encouraging that you're continuing to iterate, continuing to evolve, and really sort of building out something that you feel can be sustainable for the future. Now, for either of you, the SK token is the token that underpins your whole ecosystem, but like, why would I hold it?
So number one reason to hold SK is basically to stake it. You're going to want to stake it if you have Sidekick. And so when you stake your Sidekick token in our staking module, you're actually going to get 30% of all transaction fees from the ecosystem back as staked Sidekick.
Okay, okay. And so that includes all current projects as well as anything you develop down the road?
Correct. So basically 30%. So we have what's called a fee splitter. 30% of all the transaction fees. So that's the trades on PancakeSwap. And we have different utilities on the site that all go to the fee splitter. And then even with our latest product, Jumpstart, 20% of the Jumpstart revenue is actually going to the Sidekick fee splitter. So 30% of that would also be collected by the stakers. So yeah, we basically, everything we build and do, we are sending a portion back to our fee splitter, and then 30% of that goes to the stakers.
Well, that sounds pretty lucrative, and I mean it's a nice way to keep a token from just shooting through the roof and then plummeting, because even if there is utility and value behind those tokens, when we see that sort of price action, I think it ruins sentiment and can actually just take down a project. So, Felly, I'm curious on your take on sort of sustainability versus like immediate ROI. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, this, I tell people is like one of the greatest things about the Sidekick token. I mean, and of crypto in general. What are you getting in for it? Are you getting in for the quick ROI, or are you into it for, hey, I want to invest into this project, and I know this project is going to take a while to take off, but I believe in the overall development and the utility that they have, and so I'm going to let it sit there for a little bit. because it's always funny, when there's no utility and they're just selling you the dream, that's what I say, oh man, those are the quick ROIs. Quick ROIs because they're not going to sustain itself. While other ones that actually take development, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to create this, we've created this, and it's going to take about 6 months to 6 months to fully fund. Those are the ones that all of a sudden you still buy, and then all of a sudden you get people 3 days later is like, hey, why is the chart dumping? It's like, we did say 6 months. We did say 6 months.
Yeah, and I think 6 months for people in crypto is a very, very long time. But I think your comments about motivation is an important one, because I think when we saw the FOMO wave of last year come in, the people that came in purely wanted that overnight success. They wanted the safe moon 1000x, right? That was why they were here. But then you look at markets now, and it's people looking for yield, people looking for sustainable long-term projects that are going to come out of the bear, and they're looking for places to park cash where it's not going to depreciate too much. And then when we do come in, the market turns around, they're well positioned for a good run. So I think that's my style. I mean, who doesn't gamble on a shitcoin every once in a while? Usually never works out, but hey, take it. But for the vast majority of investors, they're probably better served, taking a longer term approach to their investments. At least in my not financially advising opinion.
No, like I agree. That's funny because I mean, I agree with you. People will go into the hype. They like what they see. They like what's coming out there. So sure, sometimes you get carried away with the emotion, and sometimes that's what happens. I always tell people, never invest more than you can afford to lose. Never bet your mortgage, ever. But never invest more than you can afford. And just know that DCA is always a good policy. Dollar cost average. Don't just dump everything on there. Just dollar cost average. Sometimes you'll catch it on the highs. Other times you'll catch it on the lows. I mean, it's really just smart investing. If you have $1,000 to invest and it's like, I think this project's going to do well, then if you want to spend a couple $100 a week and then keep doing that over a mass amount of weeks, that might be one of the best policies you have. But also there's one thing I've always liked to say about the Sidekicks, Sidekick and the Sidekick token is that you get 30% of the fees, but it's also a single asset staking. So there is no impermanent loss. It's permanent is zero impermanent loss, single asset staking token. I mean, in the last year, it's gotten anywhere, I think about 34% yield. So even though from launch, we're still slightly higher than price, and sure, it's gone its ups, it's gone its down, but we're still slightly higher than launch price. But not only that, and that's even with the recent market dip. Even with a dip of how it's been this bear market, we're still above it, but you've also earned yield. So pretty much if you were in from the beginning, you have not lost, and you've still earned 30-something% yield. You've still done this. So, and from my eyes, I see it as I see it as look, this is as it's not fancy. It's not your 100x in 3 days or anything like that, but it is 30-something, 20-something% yield a year. I mean, dude, I'll do that with my cash every time, easily.
100%. And I'm going to be doing actually a series of educational videos in the new year, kind of intro to blockchain, but also get deep into DeFi on kind of explaining some of the terms that can be a little mysterious, especially to new people. And you mentioned one, which is impermanent loss. And that is not something I understood well when I started jumping into shit farms last summer, but definitely something I learned very quickly, after being in said shit farms. So it's an important consideration when entering any sort of DeFi farming dApp. So, I'll talk more about that in the future, but it's definitely a nice bonus to not have that risk on your investment.
Exactly. I mean, and then of course, I always tell people the best thing about single asset staking is you never have to worry about the death pools. Have you ever heard that term, the death pools?
I haven't. Go ahead and explain it.
So the death pool is basically when you have a platform that has a reward token, and then you have the token that it's paired with BNB or BUSD. So it gives its own token as a reward, and that's what I call a death pool. Because it ends up being high interest, high this, but it is just basically sell as fast as you can before it goes to nothing.
I jumped into a farm when I didn't know what I was doing last year, and I won't name the name, but when you clicked the little question mark beside the APR that calculates the APY at the end of the year, it was infinity. That was what they were quoting. It was infinity APY. And I was like, I'll take infinity APY. Meanwhile, I just got fucked on the price action.
But it is, because I think we've all been there.
100%. But
yeah,
I'll learn that lesson so my subscribers don't have to. But yeah, it's definitely marketing at its finest.
Yes, it is. You know, when you give that lesson about that, call that podcast "Where's the Reach Around?" Because I never got it.
I'm gonna get all kinds of subscribers, but they'd probably be more suited to my OnlyFans. Kidding.
Exactly.
Oh my god, you guys are awesome. But we are here to talk about something in particular. Jumpstart, sort of the new hotness. It's the new bolt on to the whole ecosystem that you guys are developing. Just for the listeners, it is, you know, if you think about sort of an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter or GoFundMe, that sort of thing, where any project can come on and basically set up a like an ask, and so they can do a financial raise, but it's all decentralized. And I think that this is a huge difference between what the platforms that you're probably used to hearing about versus what Jumpstart offers. So Cos, maybe we'll go to you. Sort of what was the idea behind Jumpstart, and you know, maybe talk about why did you feel decentralization was necessary with this type of product.
Yeah, definitely. So, just trying to keep in with our core values, we wanted to bring utility and tools to the community. One of the biggest things we've done over the past year is launch tokens and NFTs for other groups and people. And so we wanted a way to automate that, but we didn't want to just do your traditional, launchpad, NFT launchpad. There's a few of those around. We really wanted to build a product that could compete in the overall market, which is crowdfunding. And so, in looking at that, I've been a huge fan of Kickstarter ever since the launch. I remember when Kickstarter first launched, like 12 years ago. I think I tried to get funded for like a laptop or something on Kickstarter when it launched. It didn't happen, but I was a big fan of it. I've been following it for a while. I think with this, what's been going on with the politicizing of everything going on in the world, and then with GoFundMe this last summer, culminating where GoFundMe denied, I think, a group of truckers like a few $1 million they raised, and they got denied for what everyone considered political reasons. Definitely just kind of woke me up and was like, wow, crowdfunding is a $30 billion market. Everybody needs access to crowdfunding, and crowdfunding gives little guys the ability to fund their projects and ideas and innovations, with little to no risk. So we thought decentralizing that was a huge step forward for the space, and so that's why we created Jumpstart. It's just a decentralized Kickstarter. If you wanted to keep it short and sweet, we decentralized Kickstarter. Anybody can come into Sidekick Jumpstart. They can put together an awesome, compelling campaign, and if they have an innovative idea, they can get it funded in a decentralized way.
No, it's a great elevator pitch for it, and you commented sort of on the trucker thing, and I'm Canadian, so I kind of watched this firsthand, and that whole thing was probably the most concerning part about that entire episode, because it wasn't just the fact that the funds got blocked and refunded, it was that they actually took the users, and some of those bank accounts got frozen over a $50 to $200 donation to a cause that they thought was good, right? So
Wow.
people, yeah, it was fucked up. And honestly, I don't think it was justified, but that's not the point of this conversation today. But I think that opens the window to something like this as an important tool as crowdfunding will most likely continue to grow. I backed 3 Kickstarters, I think, in the last 3 months for various products or books. So there's definitely a market for this sort of thing. But I'm going to pop up the dashboard just so everybody can see it. And why don't you kind of talk me through, what's going on here?
Yeah, so this is the Jumpstart homepage. On this page, you'll be able to see all the live and upcoming campaigns. And so over the past 4 months, we've been working on this. Took us about 4 months, and this is basically our MVP. So this is our most viable product. This is going to be, anybody can come on here. They can connect their wallet, and they can launch a campaign on the Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, Kronos Network, and even the Polygon Matic chain. So we're on these 4 EVMs right now. We plan to launch on more. Um, and yeah, these guys, Destiny Airlines, these guys came in, and we've been working with them, and they launched their campaign as well. I think earlier today or yesterday. But basically, yeah, we have this awesome little platform that anybody can come in and create a campaign and start getting funded and start getting views. And so we're really excited to show it off. But yeah, we definitely have our MVP into the space. So now we're looking at feedback. We're trying to get users to use it, and we're going to keep building, keep adding on more and more features. I think the top feature we're talking about right now that's being requested is the ability to buy NFTs with a credit card. And so that's going to be high on our priority list. And I think with this MVP, you know, we're going to be able to go to the VCs and talk to some, you know, big important guys and see if we can get some real funding to take this thing to mainstream.
No, that's really cool. It's nice when you've actually got a working product when you go to those VCs and make the pitch, because a lot of times you're just selling a dream. But you guys have actually gone ahead and done all the development work ahead of time, and it looks great. I mean, it looks pretty simple to use. You seem to just connect your wallet up, and I assume you just make sure that that wallet is on whatever chain you want to be engaging with, and then from there it pulls up. Does it pull up different? If I switch to Polygon, for example, would it show me a different project than the ones that I'm seeing on BSC?
Nope. So that homepage is cross chain. You'll be
Okay,
able to
cool.
see all the projects across all the chains. But yes, when you go to create a campaign, whatever network you're on, it's going to assume that's the network you want to create on, and it'll create it on that network for a small fee.
Okay, so talk me through a practical example here. I've been kind of toying with the idea. This is called the Rad DAO podcast. There is no DAO. It was just a play on my Rad Dad avatar name. But what if I did want to make one? What if I wanted to gate a DAO with an NFT? How would I go about engaging with Jumpstart to actually start that process?
So there's two ways you could do this. You could either do a public or a private campaign.
Okay.
If you wanted to use whitelists to kind of build buzz and make it so that not just anybody could get access, you could actually create a private campaign on Jumpstart, and then you can set your tiers up with NFTs, and then you could start whitelisting for each individual tier, or you could do a single tier, just one NFT set for the whole DAO. But basically, yeah, how it would work is you set up a campaign, you set up your NFTs and how many the quantity you want to sell, and the price. And as people buy these NFTs, you can then take these NFTs and integrate them into a private Discord or Telegram group, or even go a step further and create an actual DAO smart contract and integrate the NFTs and give them voting rights inside of the smart contract.
That's really cool. Now, I have no contract experience. I could probably put together some graphics to make my NFT. Am I, being a dummy, can I still use your platform to make that happen? Like, will you do, or does it do the contract work?
Correct. It actually launches all the smart contracts you need automatically. All you need to do is upload an image and some content.
Wow. That's really easy, and something I probably will actually do with my podcast in coming months. Now, once it's funded, so I guess the question is, if I back it, do I get the NFT right away? Do I have to wait till the entire thing is hit my goal, or how does that work?
So when you mint, you actually are minting the NFT right away.
Okay.
And as soon as the contributor or backer mints, he will have his NFT. He'll be able to go to OpenSea, and he'll see it on OpenSea. He'll see it on any other marketplace that integrates ERC 721s. And so how it works is, though, we have what's called a funding cap mechanism, where basically whatever the campaign owner's goal is, let's say your goal is 100 grand, you're going to be able to put a funding cap on there, which is anywhere from 0% up to 100%. And depending on that funding cap is whether or not your campaign is going to be successful. So if you have a $100,000 goal and you put a 100% funding cap, that's basically saying your campaign won't be successful unless you raise all $100,000. Now you can raise more. There's no limit on how much you can raise. But basically that cap is going to hold the funds in escrow until the campaign is over. And as soon as the campaign is over, if you've reached your percent cap, so if you've reached your 100% goal, the funds will immediately be released to the campaign owner. Now, if you don't reach your goal, let's say you only get to 90% cap, immediately the funds will be released to the backers. So if you were a backer, you can come in and get 100% of your funds, not a single penny gone, and reclaim that. Now, obviously, you will still have the NFT, and it'll be worthless because the campaign didn't succeed. But it's virtually risk-free contributions, on a campaign, to where it's like, hey, you're not sure if they're going to reach the campaign goal. Well, guess what? It doesn't really matter, because if they don't reach it, you're going to get your funds back.
I think that's a really interesting way to do it, because you think about a traditional mint, you may have to spend, hours of your life grinding in a Discord server to get whitelisted, to then go and deal with it on some website that you don't really necessarily understand the security of. And then there's really no recourse if they don't sell out the mint, or if something happens. Like, for you to get your money back, you're basically like, angrily DMing whoever is working on the project. But here it's all automated, which I think is pretty wicked. But I know OpenSea allows for royalties, like in the trading of NFTs. So is that something I could also set up? Like, I wouldn't do this to make a ton of money. I would do this purely as sort of a gatekeeper in terms of a community access point. But what if I did want to throw royalties on it and collect a little bit of that money as they trade?
Yep, we are fully royalty compliant. OpenSea and all other EIP royalty compliant smart contracts, we are integrated. So on the UI, there's a simple, easy to use section that'll ask you if you'd like to use royalties, and if so, how much. And you can set your royalties from anywhere from 0 to 10%. And then as long as those marketplaces like OpenSea or any other third-party marketplace honors the royalty, you will be able to collect it.
Seems like you thought of everything. That's really cool. I like the platform. I mean, it looks simple enough as a user to back a project, but in terms of actually launching it, I think that's a big question mark for a lot of people that don't have the technical expertise. But it sounds like guys like Felly and I could actually do this ourselves if we wanted to.
100%, you definitely could. We made it as easy as possible, and we're going to keep adding more features, making it more usable. Tons of trainings coming. One of the big features we added is something called our Elite Token Distribution Contract, where basically for any NFT tier you create, you can actually add what's called the Elite Token Distribution Contract. What this allows is once these NFTs are minted, you can go to a smart contract, pass in a token, and it'll automatically distribute to your NFT tiers based on whatever parameters you set. So if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to create 3 NFT tiers and you wanted to split 33% across each, you could send 100 tokens to the contract. It'll automatically disperse 33, 33, 33 across all the NFT holders of each tier. And so it's just an easy way to distribute tokens to your holders.
That's really cool. That's really cool. There's a lot there, man. That's you guys have done a good job with it. But here's the bigger question is, we talked at the beginning about the ecosystem. We've got the SK token that receives 30%, I think, of your fees through the fee splitter. So how does Jumpstart connect back to that token?
Yep. So basically we have a fee breakdown for Jumpstart as well. 20% of all Jumpstart revenue is actually going to go towards Sidekick, buying Sidekick token, locking LP, and sending money through the fee splitter. So 20% of all of our revenue is going to go back basically to the Sidekick token.
Okay, so everybody wins here then.
Everybody's a winner. And so yeah, we this is kind of our motto. This is our MO. And we're never, I've only ever launched one token, which is Sidekick. I've not done a bunch of little like anonymous tokens or anything like that. And everything we do from here on out will stay connected into the ecosystem and the platform.
No, that's cool. And it seems like you have quite a supportive community, at least in your Telegram group there. So Felly, I'm curious. I've seen you online. You seem to be a very positive and optimistic individual. So what is it about this community that makes it so friendly?
Well, really, it's just that I guess in many ways we don't take each other too seriously. You know what I mean? It's like if there's one thing I know is that the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know. It's always okay to be kind of humble and be kind of funny, but at the same time, it's also to take things seriously. I always like to, in terms of me, I always like to feel when I hear people talk, I always like to see that they feel connected to the words, or they not? Because sometimes they just use these terms like, generational wealth, oh, bullish this, and it's like, they're not even connected to it. It's just they're just throwing out terms. But with this community, I mean, look, this community is old in crypto world. Right? I mean, we've had this token for over a year and a half now. So it's not like we're saying, hey, launch a token. It's like, no, we've launched. This is the utilities that have developed. I mean, we were part of another token community. We've launched the most expensive NFTs ever launched on the BSC. Been doing this, that, worked with different devs, discussed with different devs, been part of degens versus not degens, white label, blue market, the whole thing. And the whole idea is to, it's important to gain that experience. And so really in terms of that, and when we're on the Telegram and people wanted to discuss different, not so much different projects, but different possibilities, different things that I've learned from different projects, I'm always open to that. Because in the end, I mean, you could say we should always strive to make a better project. So if someone learns from us and they launch something better, I'll be like, great. Because, and then if from them, we can actually adapt that to us, then even better. Because the whole point is to have a better, when you have a better community and you have multiple people that are involved in good projects, then that just gives a good sentiment. I mean, I think I was reading today that there's like 350 scam tokens a day now being launched. That doesn't help us. That doesn't help with the FTX and all this. People don't have a lot of confidence into investing in this hard stuff. So we should be able to have multiple communities of this token, this token, this token with this dev, this dev, this dev. We've known each other. They have, hey, look, I'm not saying one is better than the other. It's just different types of investing opportunities. You can invest into this type of token or this type of platform or this or this or this. And then all of a sudden, you can kind of guide people that way, because I'm telling you, in the beginning, I didn't have a lot of guidance. I mean, private keys are taken away, tokens. Oh, what's that token in my wallet? Click it, your funds are gone. I mean, there is so much stuff out there. When someone said it's the wild, wild west of crypto, it's like, man, it is. I feel like the whole crypto is standing on a rug and just waiting to be pulled.
Yeah, no, you said it well, and Sam and I from Veracity Audits last week had a long conversation about sort of the state of DeFi and how we both believe that something's got to change, right? You said 350 scam contracts. I get DMs from scammers every single day. But if I'm new, let's say I'm 19-year-old rad dad, just got my first $100 onboarded into crypto, where do I land? And, you said you didn't have a lot of guidance. I was fortunate enough to, complete happenstance, land in a group with a guy who had been in crypto for a few years already. So he was able to kind of help me along. But I think you're right. It's this network of communities across the internet that need to be sort of the hubs of information that can really prevent people from going through all the pain over and over and over again. And I think if we can do that properly, then the scams just lose value, because there's not as many people chucking their money at them, pumping them up in the first place to either get rugged, honeypotted, or just straight up, dumped on by a whale, right? So that's one of the things I appreciate about your community, is that it seems open, seems willing to talk about things, seems very welcoming and friendly, where I think the most bullish communities out there, the ones that aren't talking about the price of the token. I have no idea what the SK token value is. I don't care. The other communities that I'm a part of, it's not about the price of the token. It's about the community, it's about the utility, and it's about the project. And I think that's something you guys do well. So hats off.
No, welcome, man. I learned that a while ago. We've talked about, because price is one thing. Remember, we were talking about, what does price really reflect? If there's not liquidity, there's not this. In the end, it's like, how about just value? Is this something that we fear is going to be valuable? Okay, well, if it has this utility, this, then great. I mean, look, I'll tell you what my ideal would be at some point. Imagine if we had multiple devs from different communities, not to mention them, but they have all these tokens, and all of a sudden we find, hey, you know what? These guys are honorable. They're on the up and up, and then all of a sudden we can have it. Well, you know what? Why don't we have it where instead of just having to buy and sell tokens between us, we can actually have a place where we can actually exchange tokens. So I can actually, by getting entry into my Sidekick token, I could Sidekick, and then all of a sudden I have entry into this. I have entry into this, into this, into this. That gives you access to a much larger community, which more utility. Then all of a sudden, it doesn't matter if you buy my token or buy these other guys' tokens. By doing that, you've gained access to all that community and all that utility. But yet many people still seem to be stuck on, well, what's the benefit if they buy that token? No, there's no really. It's just like we have access in between. And basically it becomes more collaborative. So instead of competing and saying how these guys suck, because that's not usually what you hear. These guys suck, these guys suck, these guys suck. I think, no, we're awesome. And I think a lot of people are awesome. Let's work together. But it just, a lot of times it ends up falling apart. It doesn't happen. It doesn't coexist, which I think at some point it should. And hopefully it will. And to be honest with you, at this point, pretty much with all the rugs, all the scams, all the stuff, the whitelist, all the other, I pretty much just invest in projects where I know the devs. And it's not because other projects are bad. It's just because it's not worth the risk right now. At
Yeah,
this
and
moment, why?
no, I think that's a pretty good strategy, but it comes back to like, how do you know if they're a good dev? Or what if they were a good dev and now they want to retire and they're no longer a good dev? And I'm not saying that about anybody in particular, but you never really know people in this space, which makes it difficult. But that's part of what I'm trying to do is highlight, quality people in the space that, as far as I can trust, as, strangers on the internet goes, that we bring them and to the forefront. But it's I like that idea actually of connecting communities across, with some level of trust to create sort of this, general blanket of, we'll call it, DeFi security that would help people land in a better spot, so that if they landed here, here, or here, there's access to all three of those people or those communities, that they can feel sort of comfortable, welcomed, and, get their journey going. But I think this goes back to your initial comment around what's your motivation for getting into the space. Well, the same can be true about what's a dev's motivation for starting a project in the first place. Because we've seen countless shitcoins that, even if they weren't a scam, that was pretty much the extent of the thought put into it, is that I want this to pump. But then all of a sudden, when it starts to dwindle a little bit, then all of a sudden we see the cries in the Telegram group, but what's the utility? And then they'll start scrambling, trying to figure out what the next thing is for that project. But that's the cool thing about Jumpstart. You're going to the VCs after it's live, after it's fully baked, and you're ready to roll. So I think that that's a distinct difference between what the quality projects can look like and what the shit projects do. Now, not to say they can't turn a shit project into a quality project. It's been done before, but it's definitely harder to do. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Cause, I don't know what you think about it, but you're the dev here. You tell me.
Well, let me tell you the joke before Cos gets in. Let me
All
doge that question. Let me doge that question.
right. Okay.
No, but I just kind of wanted to say about I mean, there's plenty of devs that are out there where it's just get your money and get out. And I mean, and I'll say this: if there's one piece of advice I can give people, if you see a project that has one dev and has one dev, like literally one dev, and they're saying we're going to do a Dex aggregator, we're going to do this LP, then we're going to do a lending, man, it's all smoke and mirrors. There's no way a one person can do that. It's just too much work. It's too much focus. You need a team of people to do all that stuff. And so in terms of that, I mean, that's why I pretty much stick with Cause. It's, why? Because I tell him, it's like, it's not because you are the best. It's because the team is the best. It's because we know who each other are. We know what we can do. At the same time, it's like, we're focusing on this, and this dev cycle is this. It's not about all this other stuff. And still, some of us discuss these other things that they have, like the credit card processing. To me, I mean, that would be brilliant. If I can come in my credit card and participate in all these NFTs, that would be amazing. I mean, there's only, right now, we just started Jumpstart. There's 3 projects out there, and it's not saying, and the whole thing about Jumpstart is not give me your money. It's actually put your idea up there, raise funds, and take our money. Just take my money. Let us invest in your ideas. It's not invest in us. Let us invest in your ideas and your things. I mean, that's really what it comes out to, because I think there's a lot of space for that in crypto.
No, you said it very well. And when I was talking with Sam last week about veracity audits, it goes back to the one dev thing. Like, he had a group of developers that would do these audits, and they would spot check, because as smart as one person can be, they'll miss something, right? And that one thing might be the thing that fucks the whole operation. So I think it's definitely important to surround yourself with quality people that can, give you feedback, right? And because I'm sure you're a wonderful developer, no disrespect at all, but it's always good to have a second opinion, right?
It really is. It really is. And I mean, that's kind of why, with Sidekick, I was really lucky. I started this with my little brother, and, being able to have, so we come from a little bit of a dev family. Like I said, I've been doing this for a while. And so I've been kind of training him up. But, one thing you guys are finding out is that development's not that easy. There's a lot of developers out there. There's tons of devs. You see them in the groups offering their services all day, every day. But finding a good developer is extremely hard. And that's why, good devs get paid well over 6 figs in the States, because it really is difficult. So, I think crypto is finding out the hard way that, not just anybody can be a developer. And it's showing in these projects where, you have these devs, supposed devs, even supposed teams of devs, and these guys are getting millions of dollars and producing nothing. And so, proof is in the pudding in terms of that kind of stuff. And I think we're just we're proving ourselves. We're proving ourselves that we are a solid dev team. We're proving that we can get the job done, and we're proving that, we are, like Felly said, when we work together, our team is a force to be reckoned with.
No, it's phenomenal. And I think it's important because guys like Felly and I who don't understand what it actually takes to develop a contract or, fix a problem or, build a website that interacts with a number of different contracts or whatever the situation may be is A, I don't know what that's worth. B, I don't know how much time is actually involved in doing that. So like you see these developers that get a couple $1 million in a raise or the token pumps and they happen to be holding a large portion of the supply. And then it's like, okay, the devs are working. But like, is that like an hour a day? Or is that like literally they're jacked into the matrix 24/7 trying to crank out stuff for this project? So it's like, you kind of hold all the cards, right? So that there needs to be that trust in the development team because we can't peek through that curtain, right? So it's that's why I think it's doubly important to stick with, quality people in the space. But between you and your brother, who's Batman and who's Robin? I mean, we ended in a sidekick, right?
That's a good question. No, I'm definitely Batman.
I figured you're Batman. Yeah, it's all good.
No, but Robin, he's coming up, man. So yeah, it's been great working with my brother, and yeah, we're definitely learning the space. And it's one thing to be able to even develop all this stuff, but just being able to develop a product from start to finish and deliver it, it's a whole thing. I've worked for $1 billion corporations, and I've worked with guys who have master's degrees, 20 years experience, and they can't deploy to production. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, software development is just not easy in general. Like, it's just not easy anywhere you go. And it takes time, it takes money. But I would be weary of these people who are taking your money and saying, "Oh, it's going to take us some years. Don't worry about it." Like, there should always be proof of work. You should be moving very quickly to MVP status. You know what I mean? You should be showing work, getting feedback, and running through that cycle very quickly. You don't want to take. The longer we take, man, these other $1 million, $1 billion corporations will be coming, and they're gonna get to work.
Well, and that's actually something I've been thinking about a lot is like we have these small teams like you and your brother that put together a quality project, but at what point is there going to be sort of this aggregation? So I'll start, Crypto Developers Limited and hire guys like you to then, take on basically contract projects. Like, are you seeing that at all in the space right now?
Oh yeah, yes, definitely. That's definitely happening. And I think just like Sidekick, these guys that are doing that, you're not going to see them. They're not going to be in the AMAs. They're not going to be selling vaporware. That they're building right now as we speak, and then they're just going to pop up with a finished product. You know what I mean? It's not going to be these guys asking for you guys' money, promising you the moon, and then not delivering. It's going to be a finished product done, and they're selling you the main dish. Like, so that's definitely happening right now. One of the groups I worked with, we actually hired a group to help us, and they're seeing a lot of influx, and they're looking now that we got them. We hired a group to help us, and that we kind of introduced them to blockchain, and they're like, their eyes are opening up. You know what I mean? And so it's coming. It's definitely coming. Mainstream's coming. I just saw Starbucks launch something. I see Instagram's launching something. Every single corporation, every single business will have some kind of Web3 integration. So.
No, I don't doubt it. I think Starbucks, I think probably the plan is to move their loyalty rewards app onto the blockchain. And I think they chose Polygon, if I'm not mistaken, but Disney did as well. Like, I think there's so much bullish activity from main corporate land jumping into crypto that's going to carry us for the next 5 years. But I think I was talking with someone a couple weeks ago, and it still feels hard in the space, right? Like, it's still complicated. People can still make mistakes, but realistically, most crypto users shouldn't even realize that they're necessarily using crypto. They should be able to just interact with an app and not have to understand all the crap that we understand because we were sort of early adopters in this space. So simplification, and, I'm looking at Jumpstart, like, it looks and feels very much like a normie user who would be used to using Kickstarter or whatever would log into it, like, okay, I understand how to do this now, which is I think what's going to carry us through.
Exactly.
1,000% agree.
Yes, and it's funny. I'll say two things. One, you mentioned about the big companies, and I've made no secret to this that my idea of Jumpstart is to create as much visibility as possible, so that you have this major corporations like GoFundMe and this and that. Because I know Kickstarter wanted to do this in 2021, where they see it and say, "Hey, look, we can grab that attention. We can get this money, this crypto money, basically do the same thing that we've done, but now we have access to people who have crypto funds." Because it's really, it's really not just where it's getting, hey, it's cash, credit, this, hey, now we can grab crypto funds. So then all of a sudden those billions of dollars could then be used, then people can raise that through Jumpstart. And then all of a sudden we're sitting fat and happy and we like, yeah, let's do it. Forget about when Moon, when Lambo, when Jet, when Ibiza, all that other stuff. And that's, that to me is great. I mean, I'm not kidding you. There's one guy on our team, and we're talking about, man, we got to get visibility to big corporations so that they start using it. There's tons of crowdfunding stuff, and this is actually the very first NFT crowdfunding platform, very first, made by us. That's it. Who are we on a shoestring budget to make the very first crowdfunding budget in this? Who are we to make the most expensive NFT of all time ever sold on the BSC? But it just goes to show you that, sometimes people's focus is on the vaporware, on the 100x this. I mean, how many telegrams do you have? 100x, the 1000x, the Caesar's calls, and this and that. Is there one that says true utility telegram?
No, man. No, and you hit a nerve there. The who are we question. And I think, you said you were interested in the psychology or the psychiatry of crypto and all that, but it's something that even I struggle with. It's like, okay, I launched a podcast. Why is this going to be successful? Like, the immediate question is doubting yourself, right? And then I sort of reframe it. I'm like, well, why the fuck not? Like, why the fuck not, honestly? So why can't we be successful? Why aren't you going to be successful? There's no reason if you're putting in the work and you're building quality. So I think you guys will pull it off.
Absolutely. I mean, and why the fuck not? Could we not do a crowdfunding for your podcast? Say, hey, you know what? Projects that buy these NFTs, you get a one-time podcast, and all of a sudden we get to share it amongst each other. Because really, that's the type of stuff that brings utility and value. Because it's not like, oh, you get this money back. No, you get awareness, you get education, you get to put your product and be visible. And to me, those are the things that actually I have more interest than saying I just went up 30%.
Dude, that's actually you blow my mind there. Like, what if that is the way to get on the show? You got to buy the NFT, but then you could resell it, and then someone else is probably going to pay a premium, but I'm getting the royalties all the way down the line.
Exactly. And what if all of a sudden they say, you know what, we're going to integrate your NFT into Refinery, and everyone who jumps in gets an extra 1% of their transactions.
That's you've given me a lot to think about.
And that's why they call me the madman.
Hey, but this is the difference. So I would consider myself an idea guy, much like you, Feli. Like, I'm community oriented. I think about these sort of things. I have no fucking clue how to actually make it happen. And that's where guys like Cause come in. But I think when you talk about a team, it's not just the developers, it's everyone bringing their expertise. So like, I'm from the corporate world. I lead a team. Like, this is kind of what I do professionally. But I bring that to my crypto, quote unquote career, and use that, because I don't think a lot of people, like, I don't know how old you are, Cause, but I've talked to a number of people that are in crypto that are in their early 20s that have no, quote unquote real world experience. So I think there needs to be a healthy balance of people that have gone through the workforce and seen how that side of things works, mixed with the idealists of the people that made it in crypto from a young age and are now looking to put their stamp on something. And it takes that balance. So I think, Fila, you look a little more mature, I would say, than your average crypto user, which is good because you bring different perspectives.
Totally right on that. And so I've been I've been professionally developing for 10 years. I worked for a consultant firm. I've worked for billion-dollar corporations, and working with my little brother, he definitely, he's 22, right? He never had a job, and it definitely shows. These guys are definitely missing that corporate experience, which just kind of shows you how business runs in the real world, right? Like, you got to wake up on time, you got to fight through the tough stuff. There's no giving up, there's no quitting. Things are hard. You know what I mean? Getting a product out to production is hard. fixing bugs is hard, but you don't cry about it. You don't walk away, you get it done. You know what I mean? And a lot of that in this space is lost with these guys that are, coming up on this money really quickly. They're losing that whole grind, that experience.
I think it's an important point because I was talking to in episode 2 Abdullah Tech talking about specifically about actually working out, like weightlifting, and like there's nobody forcing you to get out of bed to do anything in any given day when you're in that kind of situation, right? So whereas if you work in the corporate world, if you don't go to work, you're not getting paid. You can't pay your bills, right? So It's a much different attitude, but it requires an extreme level of self-discipline to actually pull it off successfully because shit's not always going to be easy. Stuff's going to go wrong. Your Telegram group is going to blow up with FUD and you're going to have to figure out how to control it. Meanwhile, you're supposed to be developing and maybe there's something you don't understand and you don't know who to talk to. And all of that can be extremely stressful, which leads to the question is like, why am I doing this, right? Or maybe I'd be happier if I was doing that. And then you sort of abandon it. So keeping sort of the end goal in mind, I think is extremely important. And I think, people that have gone through that corporate thing can keep those guys in check and keep them on the righteous path to success ultimately.
Yeah, no, it's true. And other thing I want to say is like, we have a group of like a dozen of us and who've known each other for a while. And I think except for one, actually all of us are in, if I want to say, I think all of us or almost all of us, we're in committed relationships, families, married, kids, so it's like, when we invest, it's knowing it's like, man, that could have been pizza for my kids or this or that. So we invest, so that's kind of one of those things where, this could have been an outing, a movie. So we definitely do our research. We look into it. We discuss. We go over it. We kind of parlay it, and then a lot of times we have cause and other things like what about this? What about this? I mean, we discuss our project. We discuss other projects. A lot of times we end up saying is like, no, you know what? A lot of this stuff it looks flashy. It looks this, but it might not have utility. Or look, it looks promising. We can wait. Let's just wait and see how they do because projects, of course, they're going to pump. But you know what? It's not about pump. It's like what are they going to do when the price is not so attractive? And all of a sudden it dumps. Is there a plan to succeed after that? If there's no plan to succeed, then there's a plan to fail. And in terms of that, I was called one time the man with a plan. Is like, of course, what happens if this? What happens with this? There's always something. There's always something that we could do. There's always something that how we can improve, how we continue, what we've learned. And in terms of that, you know what? Necessity is the mother of innovation. So when you have a team that's hungry, man, they're going to innovate.
No, that's cool. And that's totally my situation. I'm married, 3 kids. Like I got to think about things before I jump in because it does impact not just me, right? So I think that's great, insight onto the reality for a lot of people because, some people might chuck 50 grand at something on a whim, whereas that would be a serious consideration if I were to take on an investment like that. I wouldn't just throw it at anything. So, I mean, it's definitely different life stages, kind of different priorities and that sort of thing, but also different risk tolerances based on those things that I think, plays a lot into how people actually make that decision to pull the trigger or not. Kaz, I think you want to jump in there.
Nope, no, I totally agree with you guys. I'm married as well. I got 2 kids. I got a big family. So yeah, this is definitely something that we take extremely seriously. And, I think there was a point where we were down and out and some of the guys wanted us to go ask for more money and wanted us to do another raise, this and that. And I stuck to my guns. We didn't want to ask for any more money until we got a solid product done. And now that we've done that, we're definitely going to go out there and, we feel proud of what we made and we're going to go tell people about it and we're going to go ask for some money.
Oh, that's great, man. That's the way to do it, in my opinion, anyway. But really cool.
No, exactly. Look, I mean, that's why now it's like now, you know what? Product's there. It's being used. We're going to incorporate. We're going to ask for funding. I mean, I looked at a lot of the crowdfunding corporations getting 10 million, 20 million, however many millions for their crowdfunding just to launch. It's like we've already launched. Now it's about use. I mean, we have an NFT conference coming up, a web and like I said, our goal is to get attention of the big boys so that they realize that the product that they're trying to develop, we already have. I mean, I told Cause there's a senior developer position in Kickstarter. I told Cause apply for that position, so when then they interview you, you show them Jumpstart, and then you can go ahead and say, hey, you know what, you guys can take 50% of the fees. We'll take the other 50% and let all those 6 billion, even if it's just 0.1%, that's 8 figures of millions of dollars going through there. And if that's 0.1%, 5% goes to our tokens, then all of a sudden the HFuel and Sidekick token, and then Refinery, all of a sudden they get all that nice liquidity, injection of capital, everything. And I'm not talking buybacks, I'm talking liquidity, where you can have 20 tokens worth $1, and if you have the liquidity, then you'll get every cent of it. While you can have 20 tokens that worth $1,000, but there's only $20 in liquidity, that's all you're going to get.
Yep.
That's all you're going to get.
No, it's a big misconception for a lot of people, and they don't understand how liquidity pools work. They're staring at their MetaMask and it says $1 million, but then you look at the liquidity pool and it's $100,000. It's like those two things don't match up. Like you're never going to get that $1 million.
Exactly. So yeah, does it look sexy saying, hey, this is going to do that? No, but it's not about sexy. This is about reality. What is tangible? What is reachable? We've been 1.5 years in the space. So to flash something, ooh, here it is. That's really not our style. Well, we're going to flash out is something that has, something that has not only brand recognition, but something that that's useful.
Well, and you see that token arc of the pump and then the just death, basically, and you basically leave a body count, and then it starts to impact the reputation of the greater ecosystem, right? So it's more important, in my opinion, to put out, slow burning, constant quality projects as opposed to that constant pump and dump action. And there are, I'll call them devs, but I'm going to use air quotes in the space, that literally will release a contract every day. It's some random shitcoin every single day, and they'll get, the same 200 people all trying to get in first and then get their money out, before everybody else does. So I hate that. I don't think that's what crypto's for, and I don't think that that's the right vibe for the space, especially at this time.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, and that's kind of what we want to go for it. It's just more of something that you'll be able to use. I mean, really, this is an opportunity to raise. I mean, how many people have crypto money but don't know how to transfer it to the real world? They have just like, oh man, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? It's like, well, you know what? This is a good use case for it. You can use it for this. So, you want to write a book? Hey, fundraise for your book. You want to do this? Could you do that? Fundraise for that. Here you go. You want people to say, hey, look, you know what? Fundraise for my book. And if I can get at least $10,000, that'll at least allow me the 2 months to do that. And then every person who goes in gets the book, kind of like a swag for a book. Do whatever you want to do. I mean, the whole point of it is to finally be able to realize your dreams. And there is a way of funding it. I mean, I remember starting out on Coinbase and getting like $130 for free just doing their videos. Just their videos.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was amazing.
No, that's cool. And it's, there's Patreon exists in sort of the normal world, and, you can subscribe and support your, favorite content creators or whatever. And then, right, like you said, sort of giving people time to actually create what they want to create and then rewarding them for it, I think is a great model. I like it. I use it in my real life, so I may as well use it in crypto. But it's sort of that continued cross-pollination between crypto and the real world that's going to drive that adoption, right? I mean, when most of the transactions on a crypto chain are just buys and sells, that's not really real world utility. But if then I can take it and actually buy something or support something or get a service with it via a platform like this, then I think now we're talking, right?
Yep, exactly. If you look at, there's one of the companies, Sign Trade, who's doing a fundraising for a crowdfunding for their product, and they're giving the NFTs, and one of the, some of the NFTs are, you invest in the NFTs, and you get a hoodie, you can get a hat, you can get free concerts for those artists, those NFTs you bought. Imagine going to a Drake concert. It's like, wait, I get to go to all those Drake concerts? It's like, yeah, you have access to that. So this is the type of stuff that you go like, and how much is going to cost me? It's going to cost about $1,000, this or that. Is like, if you go to 3 Drake concerts, how much does that cost you? not only that, but you have access. So this, access benefits. I mean, there's really a lot of potential out there. I mean, if we look at it right now, what is it? We have 200 between the three projects that are out there, $250,000 worth of raise, all within about 2 weeks. If you multiply that times 26, that's only several million. So that pretty much means that the H Fuel Sidekick token will get tens of thousands of dollars just from this. And that's not including adoption curves or increased exposure. So in terms of this, I mean, I think this will be something that will be useful for the ecosystem. When I mean ecosystem, the tokens, the IDApps, this, whatever, and plus continued development. If you want me to be totally honest, I think the only thing that would make it easier if we could buy it with a credit card, where I can just like, you know what, I like that NFT, and I think I could put that as a business expense. I want to put it on my card. It's like, boop, buy it, done. And I don't have to worry about MetaMask or anything like that. That's like almost like audibly, whether it's a custodial wallet, just automatically generated, and then you get a sent to your email with some information. There, done. If we could do that as simply as that, then now you have access to real money. Then that 0.1% that goes in will become 20, 10, 30%. And that will make a huge difference.
Yeah, no, I think that's the key, but I think it's coming, and I think it's coming sooner than later, right? And we can't really fathom the type of volume that sort of ease can bring into the markets. I mean, I think what we saw last year is a drop in the bucket compared to what we could if people could actually onboard fiat. Because you're right, if I sent my mom $1,000 of USDC on Polygon and said, it's yours if you can get it off there, she would break down in tears, and I would have to like do a 3-hour video call with her to walk her through how to get the money out, right?
Yep. She was like, what happened to those A's when I just caught you using porn? What are you sending me now?
And then she's going to get dusted because she'll have a wallet and it'll just be like junk in there.
And I'll give you a little something. Yeah, today I talked to 2 credit card processing agents. And in terms of that, because I actually know, I had forgotten that I know these people. It's like, oh, well, let me talk to him and stuff, because I want to see how that would be. I looked at actually MasterCard, and they have some APIs and stuff that you can integrate into the website. And again, I'm not a dev, so I just send these stuff to Cods, and I'm pretty sure he's going, stop sending me stuff. I already know this. But but the other thing is, 3 days ago, talked to a guy in our group who he's in Japan. And, we're talking about, it's like, holy crap, I forgot that this guy he works in the information development department for Rakuten. And I was like, man, you should set up a meeting and stuff. And he's going to set up a meeting for us to meet up with Rakuten and talk about Jumpstart. So that's like, ooh, that's nice. And he's like, look, it might not be exactly what they're looking for, but at least they get some exposure. It's like, yeah, man, if we get executives, big people all of a sudden start just having this idea, as time goes up, they'll start integrating it, and next thing you know, we're getting calls from them later on.
No, that's really cool. And I think about this in my own career, whether or not this ends up being a full-time thing or I stay in my 9 to 5. But like if my organization were to open up any sort of blockchain division at all, I'm there. Like I'm in. I'm your guy. There's nobody that's more qualified than me, even though I have no qualifications at all. But yeah, I think that just exposing people to what is possible and then putting money behind it. Like, listen, there's almost $1 trillion worth of value locked up in crypto right now. You could have a piece of that if you integrate with our technology, right? And I think that sells it for them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, man, we talked a lot. We can continue for forever, but I know it's been an hour, so I don't want to dominate your airspace.
No, I was just going to ask if there's anything either of you wanted to share before we wrap up today, but I also wanted to say thank you. Like another great conversation with another 2 really great guys. So I appreciate the time today, but feel free. Platform's yours for final words.
No, I think everything's been said and stuff like that. Like I said, I mean, I'm just a guy supporting cause. It's a Sidekick platform. I'm a psychiatrist in real life, and I can tell you, like, I've been in this space. I've met several people. These guys are the real deal. I always tell them that, when it comes to grinding, work ethic, you make mistakes, you learn from it. This is the place I want to be. There's no other team I'd rather be with. And like I feel very blessed and very honored. And look, thank you for your time and talking to us anytime. Invite us anytime. I'd definitely come here and shoot the shit anytime you want.
Happy to have you guys back whenever. So I really appreciate it. How about you, Kaz? Any final words?
Heck yeah. I really appreciate you guys having us on. Hopefully we did a good job presenting the value proposition for Sidekick. We've been here for a couple of years, and we plan to be here for many more years. And we're going to keep building and keep delivering value back to our token and our investors. And if you guys like Jumpstart, if you got an idea, if you're an innovator, if you want to raise money for any cause at all, check out Jumpstart and definitely DM us. We can help you get set up. We are offering an affiliate marketing plan right now, where basically anybody who refers someone to Jumpstart, we will share 10% of the profits with you. So if you want to get plugged in and find a way to make some extra money, there's that. And then just keep checking in on our channel, and more's coming, and we're excited to get this next phase out.
It's amazing. And for everybody out there, I will drop all of the links in the show notes below so that you can get right to their website and check out the platform, or you can join their Telegram group, where you will find these two very active. They're not just avatars on a screen. They're there engaging with the community on a daily basis. So thank you both. This was awesome. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks, man. Again, pleasure is all ours, and thank you for your time.
All right. Take care, guys. Cheers. Well, guys, I don't know about you, but I learned an absolute ton about Jumpstart today. I learned that I can take my own ideas of an NFT and actually get it off the ground and then tie it to a DAO contract that could support this very podcast. Mind-blowing. The best part of it is I don't need any development experience to make that happen, because I don't have any development experience. So if you're like me and you were thinking about starting something but didn't know where to go, I would start there. If you're interested in anything we talked about today, I will definitely throw all those links in the show notes below, and I want to thank Felly and Cause for joining me. You guys absolutely smashed it, and I'd love to have you back anytime. If you want to support the channel, the best way to do so is to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, or if you're an audio listener, leave me a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. If you've got a few extra beaver bucks lying around and you want to throw some my way, there is a MetaMask donation wallet just below in the show notes. It's MetaMask, so obviously accepts all the major EVMs, and it is greatly appreciated, and it helps keep the channel going. There's also a few referral links that if you were thinking of trying out any of those exchanges, feel free to use my link. It gives us both a little bit of a kickback and, again, helps go to support the show. That's it for this week, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I did, and I look forward to doing it all again next Friday. Thanks, everybody, and have a wonderful week. The Rad DAO podcast is produced for entertainment and education purposes only. I know this because I'm not a licensed financial advisor. If you're thinking of investing in any of the tokens talked about during this episode, then I implore you to please do your own due diligence, and if necessary, consult with a licensed financial advisor.